Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I hope you're having a great day. It is the Demetra K Show where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with an emphasis on even because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you viewers, but you are family, and sometimes I share the link so you can come up here and speak your opinion, ask a question, whatever it is. All I ask is that if your thing looks like this, please show me your face. And if you want to block it out before I bring you up to the big screen, then you can do that. I just want to verify that as you and not some other people. Also ask that if you are on the panel or in the comment section, please let's remain respectful of each other. No name calling and all of that, because y'all know on these platforms we can say so much before we get in trouble. Please and thank you. Also ask that if I do share the link, that if you've said what you said before, please do not come up and say it again. That allows somebody else a chance to come up here and speak. Also like to say that, as you guys can see, Donovan is not here. He is in Sasua. And from what I could tell, from what he, showed me, he's having a great time. So we're going to leave him alone and let him do what he's doing until he comes back. But I'm sure he'll pop up in the comment section, maybe. Nevertheless, today we are going to talk about many Democrat cities and states are trying to find homeless people for having nowhere to go. And of course, I'll get into that. And then we can transition to other topics if you guys like. Just like to say that at the top of the hour, because sometimes people come in and say, what are we talking about? Oh, we're not talking about that. So I'm just letting y'all know oftentimes we do transition to other stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with it, as we are here for about 2 hours. I keep trying to shorten it down, but somehow it goes to 3 hours. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, who is on here? We have Conscious Ether. How you doing? Fishing with Rick. How are you? Long time no see. Jesse, how you doing? Also long time no see. And Brother Don, my moderator, I hope you're doing well. Judge Dreads, what's going on? Black America, what is going on? And let's see, Judge says H-Town up in here. Who is that? Oh, somebody text me something. Up in here. And Dwayne, how you doing? Says, hello, family. I'm here. Mike, nice. How you doing? And Easy E, I hope you're doing well. So anyway, and Till Dog, how you doing? All right, let's get into it. I don't have a video or anything like that to show you. So I was in the car yesterday and I was listening to NPR, right? Which is one of my favorite stations. Now, I know some people say, oh, they're biased. I just like to listen to a whole lot of news sources so I can get ideas and see what's really going on in the world. So this particular story I'm about to tell you, they were talking about a place called Grant Pass in Oregon. And Grant Pass, they went to the Supreme Court, rather, because they wanted to fine people for being homeless. Now, they had people, that's true in every place in America, right? But particularly in Oregon, which is on the West Coast, they said they want to find people to discourage them from sleeping on park benches or in the park or the sidewalk. Because you guys know, homeless people, sometimes they pitch tents and stuff on sidewalks, freeways, and just anywhere, right? So they started to fine people. But then that particular thing was taken to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, from what I understand, yesterday ruled and said, yeah, that's cruel and unusual punishment, and it's unconstitutional because they don't have anywhere to go. Like, you're finding people who are already having a bad time, right? If I don't have a house, it's probably because I don't have enough money to take care of myself. And so you're going to slap, and there at Grant Pass, you know how much they were finding those people? $295 per infraction, if you will. So there's one lady, she says she used to be a housekeeper, something like that, but she lost her job. Fell on hard times, and she ended up having to sleep in her car, I think, or somewhere. She says she's got 30 fines that amount to about $9,000 or so. And she's like, well, how am I going to pay that? I'm homeless, right? But that's what they were doing. And so again, the Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional. And then so you go somewhere like California. Now, mind you, these are all democratically ran states for the most part. It's considered blue. So you go to California, and they also try to get a ban or something like that to try to cut down on the homelessness. And their appeals court said, okay, California, I don't see anything wrong here. What advocates are saying, advocates for homeless people are saying, it lacks evidence saying that it's cruel and unusual and unconstitutional. But it sounds like the Supreme Court said, yeah, it is cruel and unusual, because where are these people going to go? Like, you're moving them around, but there's no solutions to this homelessness, right? So on a place like Grant Pass, that's in Oregon, they only have a one night stay for people to stay in these shelters. And so, all right, one night, it doesn't sound like they even have a lot of shelters at all. So then where are these people supposed to go? A lot of homeless people don't have cars, so they're going to pitch tents somewhere else. And so California, via Gavin Newsom, is saying, well, we need to be able to make common sense approaches to these things. Like, we can't just have people sleeping on sidewalks or in parks or wherever they go, because they're saying, especially like for the businesses and maybe tourists and just people who live there, what are they supposed to do? Because, I'm not trying to be gross, but if you're homeless, you don't have a bathroom, right? So if you have to alleviate yourself, you're going to go to the bathroom, wherever that is. And a lot of restaurants or businesses, they don't let homeless people go in there to alleviate themselves or wash themselves. And so I know at one particular time in Los Angeles, I want to say, they said like the bubonic plague, it was evidence of that due to the excrement of humans being all over. And I was once downtown, and yeah, it's pretty gross. You know what I mean? But then you think, well, I was like, where are these people supposed to go to the bathroom? So again, it was ruled unconstitutional, but it is said nationwide there's about 650,000 homeless people. And I'm like, it's surely there's more, right? That's just that they know of, but they're saying there's about, 650,000 homeless people. But 1/3 of the homeless population is in the West, California, Washington State, Oregon, and all those things. Again, those places are Democrat. It says 4 out of 10 homeless people sleep outside. So I guess the other people maybe sleep in a car, maybe a shelter or something. But those other people, they sleep outside on a park or whatever. And luckily for California, right, most of the time, depending on where you are in California, the weather is okay. But imagine being homeless in somewhere like New York, Boston, where it gets really frigid and cold, Chicago. Then those people are just kind of left to the elements. And there's been cases of homeless people freezing to death, frostbite, all that, where they lose limbs and stuff because they don't have anywhere to go. And so I looked, I was like, well, how many undocumented people are they saying that are in the United States? And they're saying there's about 10.5 million undocumented people. So people who are not supposed to be here, like immigrants. And then they said in California is about 1.85. So almost 2 million undocumented people there. Again, California, it's kind of open to, people crossing the border. Places like Texas, not so much. Now, I'm not sure, and I would imagine that Republican states, they don't really cut for homelessness too. But I think about the story, and they, they specifically rather listed the blue states. I'm like, well, a lot of people vote for Democrats. And with that, of course, we know the most homeless population is Black people. Then they list LGBTQ and seniors, right? Those are the most homeless. Black people are the most homeless in anywhere in the United States. And so as I listened to this story on NPR and I did a little bit more research, I'm like, why would anybody want to vote for a party that, for one, because the Republicans don't have the open border. Listen, I'm not Republican. For somebody might say, oh, I'm not. But the Democrats are for the open borders, but they're also for wanting to find homeless people. So it's like you're taking care of immigrants that are coming over here because you want the borders open. You're taking care of them. They get everything they need. But then homeless people, they got to pay a fine, especially somewhere like Oregon, for $295 each time that they're fined. And so what, if I don't pay the fine, do I go to jail? You ruin my credit so I can't get a house. If I get on my feet, like, what's supposed to happen? So they're being demonized Americans, but then people cross the border, they get rewarded for essentially breaking the law, right? If I'm sleeping outside, I'm not supposed to, I get a fine because I broke the law. But you got people crossing over here breaking the law, but then they get rewarded. So I want to have a conversation with y'all, and then we can talk about anything else that you want to talk about from that point. So let's see who showed up in the comment section since I started talking. Let's see. Ooh. Sister Shirley, how you doing? Miss Tiffany, what's going on with you? LL, I hope you are doing well. Let's see who else came on here. Miss Tiffany say, oh, Shirley, I'll go to your comment. It says, This is the mess the Democrats created. So now they want our people to pay for their homelessness. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Like, okay, I probably walked around all day trying to stay busy, look like I'm doing something, and then I'm tired. I lay down at night, and then bam, you get a fine because you're homeless and you have nowhere to go. Because I know there's some people out there who are homeless who may have some other issues going on. There's a lot of people who simply don't have anywhere to go. So then they get demonized or, criminalized for that. And Miss Tiffany says the Dems are looking for homeless people because they need them to vote. Yeah, but I'm going to vote for more of nothing. Once you get in office, you're going to hit me with a fine because I have nowhere to go. Why not, with all the money that you're spending on the migrants, why not build shelters, like shelters and resource centers, or even showers or bathrooms so people can use them, at the very least, right? Judge Dredge says, I bet they, some Christians, huh? Yeah, well, a lot of politicians say that they're Christians or Catholic. Of course, there's other stuff, but we live in I guess, a Christian nation, right? Last time I heard, I don't know. Mindful Moments, how you doing? Says a lot of homelessness on the West Coast due to weather. On the West Coast due to weather. I think a lot of people are homeless on the West Coast due to just not being able to live there. Of course, that is true for everywhere. The rents are rising. Housing costs are expensive, right? A lot of people are paying 50, 60, I guess, sometimes 70% of their income just on housing alone. So that doesn't leave you much else to take care of all the things that you need. Of course, if a person has an emergency, like they said on the NPR special, somebody's car breakdown or something, then that it might take the rest of their disposable income to fix their car. So a lot of people are just homeless because they can't afford to live anywhere else. And the other thing too is a lot of times you talk about people who are homeless, maybe not have no job or anything like that, but there's a such thing as the working homeless who work. Some of them go to these high-rise buildings, these jobs, and they're going to go sleep in their car at night once they clock out because they simply cannot afford a house. So absolutely. And let's see here. Conscious, you say, fine poor American citizens, but give thousands of dollars to illegal aliens. Yeah, that's basically what's happening. Brother Sammy, how you doing? Says, greetings, Demetri. That sounds like their vagrancy laws of the black holes in the past. Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like, right? You stop here and you sleep, then I'm going to fine you. It's like, then what, after a fine, you can't pay them, you go to jail. Who wants to go to jail? I'm homeless. I'm not a criminal. I'm just homeless, right? I just need a place to stay. I need some help so I can get back on my feet. All these politicians, why not just do something about the rising rents? Do something about that. But they won't because it's pure greed, And Mindful Moments, it says, we can't house or help them, but we have money to send abroad and help people who just arrive. Ridiculous. Yeah, that big giant spending package that Congress just passed was at $95 billion to everybody else. But you got homeless people who are being fined because they have nowhere to go. It's absolutely madness. But the other thing is, like I said, we vote for that. We are voting for the madness. It's crazy. Carla, how you doing? It says America is wicked, to say the least. And Judge, you says, where else can they go? Right. Are they going to go to jail? If they can't pay these fines, that's usually what happens, right? You can't pay your fines, you go to jail. You also say, meanwhile, we about to break off $1 trillion overseas, if we haven't already, right? Fishing with Ricky says, you read my mind, Carla. And yeah, Conscious, that is nasty, but where are they supposed to go? Where are they supposed to go to the restroom if they can't use it inside? And Lynette, how you doing? Says Montgomery, Alabama. Mindful Moment. She says at one point they had porta potties set up in these encampments and places to wash their hands. Yeah, washing your hands is cool. You need to do that. But after a while, you might want to shower. You got to go to the restroom. And then if they get caught going to the bathroom on the sidewalk, then I'm sure they're going to get fined for indecent exposure and, all that other stuff. I told y'all one time I met a young man. He was about 23 years old. He was alleviating himself outside as, some dudes do. No harm, no foul, right? I guess. Well, anyway, he said he was 18 years old and he was urinating outside. He says a white woman walked by with her daughter and got all offended and called the police, and they violated him, I guess, if you will, as a sex offender. He spent some time in prison. And at the time when I met him, he was homeless. And he says, there's a lot of places I can't go because now I'm a sex offender. They made him a sex offender, registered sex offender, for urinating outside. A white lady saw it and got mad and, ruined his whole life. And I said, he says, I can't really go to the shelters because there's children in there. The churches, they help me. They, they give me food and stuff, but I can't stay because they have children there. So he said he didn't really have any family in California. His grandmother was in, I think, Alabama or Georgia, something like that, but he couldn't go because his probation officer wouldn't let him go yet. So he's there, homeless. So, I did what I could. I bought him some food and stuff, but I never forgot him because it's like he just did what a lot of people do. And she called the police on him, and the rest was history for him. So I don't know what happened to him, but it was the day after Thanksgiving, and usually he would eat at the churches, but they were closed, and so he was hungry. And it just really broke my heart because it's like, wow, this is a kid. He's a black man, by the way, who's a sex offender because he just was urinating outside. And so I tell people, be careful because you never know. Um, Dwayne says, fine and send illegal aliens back home, but not American citizens. Rainey, how you doing? Says they are the new prison class for America. Yep, because they need to keep those beds full to give their investors a return on their investment to the tune of 90%. They have to keep those beds full. So how do you guarantee that? How do you guarantee occupancy? And you get people on any and everything you can so you can fill those beds. And the conscience says, I blame the Democrats. And then Jesse says Denver, Colorado as well. Yes, because it's part of the West, right? And Judge says, I've been homeless a couple of times. It's not fun. Yeah, one thing I'll say, there, but for the grace of God, there go I, that I've never been homeless, but I couldn't imagine, how hard it is to just not be able to do the basic things of life, like bathe and, all of that. Black America says it's because the weather is beautiful on the West Coast. Okay, got you. So the weather being that it's easy for, easier, I would say, for people to be homeless, but not easy. And Clubber Lane, how you doing? He says, this can be fixed easily. Let homelessness, American citizens start building tents in the richest, right? Zip codes, homeless problems ends in a month. Well, the problem is, especially like places like Los Angeles. So there's Venice Beach and there's, what is it, Santa Monica or something like that. They're like one street, you cross the street and it's literally like night and day, right? It's the nice beachy area. And then you cross the street, it's just homeless encampments just all down the street. So it is, in a sense, in the wealthier neighborhoods or near it enough for them to see it and not like it. So it's probably really them pushing the legislation. Like, we're tired of seeing them there. We don't want them there. So, yeah, Judge, you said most are mentally ill. I don't know if most, but I don't have any statistics, but I would say probably a lot of them are. But now I'll say more nowadays, there's a lot of people who just can't afford to stay in a house. But you're right. JJ, how you doing? And Sonny, what's going on with you? And Judge says, how can they pay? They just want them in jail. They can't, Clubber Lane says, I know, but they fear of having them there will make the government take action. Well, it's about money too, you got especially places like California is a big touristy area, especially Southern California. Of course, San Francisco was inundated with homelessness because it's like San Francisco is one of the most expensive places to live in California. So of course you're going to have homelessness going on, but it's like, fix the problem. Don't demonize those people. Damon, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. And Stebby, how are you? It says a fine, laugh out loud. How they gonna pay? They don't care. They because they're saying, well, it's a deterrent. All we really want to do is deter them from, sleeping on the park. It's like, okay, so you're gonna deter them to the point that they go to a hotel? Like, what is going on here? And then some people are saying, well, some people don't want to take advantage of some of the things that they have for them, like some of the what do you call it, the shelters. But I've talked to people who are homeless, and they say the shelters are very dangerous sometimes. Sometimes there's assaults of all kinds in shelters because they don't really have a lot of people like securing the place. People get their belongings stolen. So a lot of people are like, I just don't want to go in there. Because a lot of times, too, you have to be there at a certain time. And then they lock it, I guess, and you can't leave until I think they make everybody go a certain time, like early in the morning. So it's just not really conducive in a lot of these shelters for people to be there, if that makes any sense. And Sonny, you says jail equals free labor. Yep, absolutely. And JJ says illegal migrants and aliens getting all kinds of goodies from the government. Yeah, but homeless people are just out of luck. Dwayne says, I'm Republican now. The Democratic Party is clearly anti-American citizens, especially us American Indians, a.k.a. FBA. I can see how you would say that. especially Joe Biden. He does not seem like he likes Americans too much, you know. And Shirley says the Democrats aren't interested in African Americans. No, not at all. Only when it comes time to vote. And Mindful Moment says a lot of places ship their homeless here. So are you in Los Angeles? Because I'm from Riverside, the Inland Empire, the IE. And I know for a while they were having a back and forth of shipping homeless people from the IE to Los Angeles, like they're playing this game. So it's like, well, no matter where you send them, they're still homeless, right? But it's crazy. And Judge says, many are ex-felons who can't get a job or housing. That is true too. Jesse says, them Christian pastors and politicians are the biggest hypocrites, and they are always sweeping away the unhoused from the steps of their churches or office buildings. Yeah, it's not the churches of back in the day where they really try to help people get on their feet. They're like, nah, you can't stay here. You know, it's unsightly. Bro, Goo, how you doing? It says none of these politicians want to solve the problem of homelessness. They are not on the side of hardworking Americans. They only give Americans just enough so that they don't revolt. Wake up, people. Absolutely. Mindful moments. You say, I agree, Cali is expensive and the pay doesn't keep up with the rent prices. Nah, what I understand nationwide, I think the average rent is $2,200. And I think that's for an apartment, maybe. That's a lot for an apartment. My first apartment was like $325. It was a one bedroom, like 94 ish, you know. So imagine that apartment probably now is probably in the 2000s in California easily. And Judge, you say a lot of people one paycheck away from being homeless. Yep, especially now it's getting worse. I don't know if y'all heard, but Tesla is laying off people. And then they said that Elon asked for, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, I think like from somewhere, I guess Tesla or somewhere, I think it was $56 billion salary or something crazy. 56 billion to 56 million. But it's like, you laying people off, but you're asking for a salary. Ain't you the richest man in the world? Do you need more money? Tesla. And let's see here. Peace on to you, Jesse. As Shirley says, a lot of homeless people have mental issues that everyone wants to overlook. That is absolutely true. Fishing with Ricky says The Rock is letting the Purdue and the Sackler family create the opioid crisis. The hard place is rich people driving up housing prices. Unfortunately, poor are caught in the middle. Yeah, and inflation is just through the roof. You know, you guys go to the grocery store, you see things that you buy on a regular basis starting to skyrocket. It's like, well, it wasn't that a couple of weeks ago, if not a week ago, but it's more. And Judge says Cali rent is high because of the tech companies. Yep. San Francisco is where, up north is where the tech companies are. And San Francisco is considered to be artsy, right? We have music and art and, all those areas, Haight-Ashbury, all of that. But those people are being moved out for the tech industry. And they're even saying now people in the tech industry, it's hard for them to afford to live there as well because it's just outrageous. Let's see here. Conscious says they're going to bankrupt the country, right? And Dwayne says, my people look at all Democratic cities and states, they're high crime. So now I'm off the Democratic plantation. Yep. In most Democratic areas is high crime. It's crazy. Jesse says, got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Tupac, Maro Shakur. Absolutely. JJ says, all these black millionaire mega church preachers don't or won't lift a finger for the poor black folks. When I was going to church when I was a kid, they had a kitchen that would feed the poor every day. They can come and get a meal, and they did it for years. Now, I don't know if churches do that anymore because I don't go to church, so I don't want to say they don't. But I remember my church did. Every day they can come get something hot to eat. So where are those churches? Because they're making a lot of money, right? And let's see. Sonny, you say, this is very sad. All of the money they spend on nonsense. People are starving and homeless. Our veterans, it's embarrassing. Yep, there's a lot of veterans that are homeless. Candy, how you doing? Says, if you are homeless, how can you pay a fine, help them, and stop giving migrants everything? Yeah, it's all by design. Norris, how you doing? It says worldwide 8 million people die because they can't afford to live. Damn shame. Yep, from all kind of reasons. I would imagine. KP, how you doing? It says vote blue no matter who. They said, right. And they still saying it, believe it or not. Jack, how you doing? It says Jack from Ohio. The Democrats don't give a damn about Black America. Only when it's time to show up and vote. Damon says America is a failed country. They don't want a revolution. I know they do not. And Mike Nice says level 3 in my state. And what's that? If you don't mind me asking, I'm gonna skip down so I can catch up. Your average logical thinker, how you doing? It says evening, Demetra in chat. They will have to let them out of jail with a few hours due to overpopulation. Anyways, what a waste, right? So you're gonna spend money to lock people up because that's expensive, right? But you won't spend that same money to try to help them get on their feet. You know, some people just need, maybe a couple $1,000, a house, a couple $1,000 cushion, between their paycheck and an emergency or whatever, and they can save. But it's just so backwards here. It gets to the point to where sometimes I'm like, I just want to leave America, go somewhere to a tropical island where nobody knows where I am. Consciousness, brother, stay away from these white women. All right. And Nasi, how you doing? Says the S-hole country is at its best. Okay. And Judge says, yeah, they coming to Texas finna mess us up. Mindful moment, she says, that's sad. These people are pathetic. No compassion. Being registered as an ex-offender for relieving themselves. Yep. That's sad. It's one of the saddest things I ever heard in life. And he was so defeated. What can he do? No reparation, no vote. How you doing? And Damon says, most PCs are evil AF. And Bay Girl, how you doing? He says, what happened to Donovan? He's in the DR. Donovan's in the DR. He's having a great time in Sasua. He sent me a picture today. I was like, oh, okay. You probably won't be on the show today. He's booed up. Let's just say that. So I'm not sure how long he's in the DR, but when he comes back, he'll be back on here. But we're going to leave Donovan alone for now. Judge says, if I pee outside, I find a big tree to hide behind. Yeah, I'm sure he probably wasn't in the open. Maybe just a lady walking by and saw it, called the police on him. She could have just kept walking. Could have said ew or whatever, but she had to call the police on him, and he's a sex offender now. Those laws need to change. Shiloh, how you doing? It says, been working on my credit for years. Metro to Flawless Credit Academy, etc. I was relieved to get our apartment 14 months ago. And I'm glad that you have an apartment. Mindful Moment, she says, this country is despicable. Yes, Damon says, no reparations. Though, how you doing? Perry, what's going on with you? Yes, Donovan is still in, is South America? I guess. He's in the DR nevertheless. And Shiloh says, been homeless before, been almost homeless too. Still working on my credit, have been for 2 years. Metro Flawless Credit Academy. I was relieved to get out of get your apartment, I think 15 months ago, saving for a house now. Well, yeah, I'm glad because, yeah, like I said, I've never been homeless, but, and I don't want to say I couldn't imagine because I've never been, but, God bless anybody who's in that situation, and hopefully they can get out. And I'm glad that she did. Keisha, how you doing? Clubber Lane, he says, they're not the new prison class. The domestic population will be the new prison class. The migrants are the new low-cost labor class. Good point. Nasi says, this will not work in Cali. The court already forced California to lower the prison population. Yeah, but, there's a lot of people in prison who just don't belong there. And I know that California has a moratorium on the death penalty. Gavin Newsom said as long as he is the governor, they will not be pulling a switch on anybody because he says he knows disproportionately there are Black people on death row who are more than likely innocent. So, yeah. Jesse says, yep, they have curfews and make it hard to have a job and still get in line in time for bed. Yeah, at those shelters. Yep. OJ Simpson, you with us? How you doing? He says, love the show. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Thank you. Patricia, how you doing? All right, let me skip down to the bottom so I can catch up a different view. How you doing? It says, I've met homeless individuals who own homes but don't want to live in them. Yeah, now that's probably a little bit of a mental crisis going on there. Jesse says, my first apartment was $350, $400 a month back in 2007. Yeah, that was mine in 1994. Yes, indeed. Judge, yes, gentrification is a factor. Gentrification happens, the housing market in the area goes up and people get forced out. They can't live there, right? All right. And Doe says, now you have to fill out applications to get help from churches. Do I got to fill out an application to give you this tithing money and offering? Do I got to fill out one for that too? It's crazy. And Brother Sammy says, a friend of mine said Jackson, Mississippi is a place where they drop off the homeless every year. Mostly I participate with my fraternities. He says, Phi Beta Sigma, sleep out with the homeless and provide assistance. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it's going to take. And I know there's a lot of organizations and people who do that, but there's people with bigger pockets like the government, these churches and stuff. They really should be doing more to help the homeless population. Damon says the food lines are off the hook in Lancaster, California. Yeah, they're everywhere. Can't remember where it was in Houston, but it wasn't that long ago. Just the food line was so long. It was around the doggone block. And it was cars from every class, it wasn't just like beat up jalopies. It was all kind of nice cars, just all kind of cars in the food bank line. That's very telling, So Till Doggy says blue is my favorite color except for when it's time to vote. Right. Judge, you say, when you go to that island, can I go with you? Sure, why not? Herschel, how you doing? And Callie, how you doing? He says, Nokia CEO on 6G technology. Your phone technology will be in your body by 2030. Lord Soros, Nokia, house at Kushner 666. Fifth Avenue, New York, patent holder of RIFID, running Lucent Technology, Fernal and operation. I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, but welcome. Mikey says using the restroom in public exposure. Okay, got you. Level 3. Yeah, and it's like that. Come on. Now I get it. Some people just like, come on, you probably, if you got a place to go, you should go. But even then, it's like, okay, give me a fine or whatever, just a community service. But to violate a person as a sex offender, I think that's cruel and unusual, because what you set them up for the rest of their life is horrible. Like, you always have to answer for that. And most of the time, if you tell somebody, well, I'm a sex offender, registered sex offender, they're not going to say, well, what did you do? Because there's some people, I know California recently changed the law, and Lord knows that was a point of contention, because a lot of people's running around saying California now have made pedophilia, if you will, legal, and they did not. Basically, what they're saying is they stopped criminalizing age differences that are very close. From what I understand, because there's a lot of people, let's say if you're 19, you might have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, I don't know, that's 17. Should you go to jail and be registered for a sex offender for that? And I know some things as far as homosexuality, they decriminalized. But those are the type of things I think they need to make provisions for. Anyway, Black America says, that's crazy. Let's give crazy homeless drunks, a drug addict, a house and money. Okay. A freed mind, how you doing? Says they are trying to reestablish the vagrancy laws. It sounds like, right? Jesse says good for Donovan. Yeah, he didn't seem like he was doing too bad. So yeah, he's enjoying himself. Damon says Donovan hanging with barbecue. Not yet. I don't know if her name was barbecue. Callie says Black America, so many not drunk or a drug addict. That's why I just said okay. And Arniba, how you doing? And Judge says Donovan a passport bro. He'll tell you he's not, but he uses his passport quite a bit. So I'll let him tell you that. And Roland, how you doing? And Callie says demons, churches. Maybe I should have read it that way, right? Michelle, how you doing? And Judge says, how are you going to a food bank in the Benz? There's a lot of people who might have been able to pay that for that Mercedes-Benz, and something happened. Maybe they lost their job or something, and they're no longer able to pay for it. They may still have it. Maybe they don't have a payment on it, or maybe they're running from the repo man, but there's people from all walks of life. That's why we always should never let people's cars fool us thinking, oh, that's a symbol of success. Material things aren't a symbol of success. There's a lot of people living quiet lives of desperation while holding a Gucci bag, driving a Range Rover, and they pretending for you. But they going to go home and try to figure out how they going to, boil some beans and they ain't got no water on or whatever, So, yeah. And Sunglow, how you doing? And Leonard, how are you today? He says, if it wasn't for Biden's policies, today's problems wouldn't exist. I think they wouldn't exist as much as they do, because with the open border policies, but they homelessness was still an issue before he came into office. It's just that now everything is just magnified, it seems like. Callie says, I made a garden last year, supplementally fed 6 families going this year too, just took a little work. There you go. So there's something that we can all do. I'm one of those people, if I only carry cash on me, which I rarely do, but I said I need to, I rarely spend the cash. I usually give it away to people, like, people who are homeless or something. I'll do that because it may not be much, but it's something. Get yourself to eat, some yourself something to eat. Because I like I said, I have a bleeding heart, and I don't even think you need a bleeding heart to want to help people. But somebody asked me for it, and I have it, I'll give it to them. I don't judge. Well, you look like you might not. If you scamming, that's between you and God. But I did my part. JJ says TD Jakes will spend a ton of money for his Mega Fest cruises just to party, but nothing for real Black homelessness. And again, I don't know exactly what his philanthropy is. I would hope that within the Potter House, they're doing something for homeless people. But to your point, the mega churches sure make a lot of money. And it's like, a lot of those people who are from the neighborhoods that those churches are set up in, they go there and they don't have a lot of stuff themselves. And there's a lot of churches. I know if a homeless person tried to come in there, maybe they're not smelling so good or whatever, they probably would turn them away. They're not the churches of old. It was like, come as you are, or, we're going to see if we can help you, all of that. More than likely, a lot of those churches probably wouldn't want that individual in there because we don't want you to scare off the parishioners, if you will, or somebody who may come in here with big money. So they'll send them away. Sad. And LeBron will never be as great as Jordan. How you doing? Till Dog says Joel Osteen showed us a couple of years ago how the church feels about people in need. What's so funny is because I researched that a little bit. Of course, that happened with Hurricane Harvey, where people were needing places to live. But then if you think about something like Katrina, right? That happened in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it was Alabama, Mississippi. But it hit, sounds like, New Orleans the most. A lot of those people were moved to Houston, and they were in the Astrodome. Sounds like things got kind of wild, and some things happened, from what I understand. And then you think about Joel Osteen, who people said you should open up the church, which he said it was flooding. Some people said, you're lying, it wasn't. Then it came out that he didn't want people to destroy the church. So I thought about it. I was like, I think he's probably got a point. I mean, you probably wouldn't want people to destroy a church, even though he probably got enough money, right? They found money in the wall to restore the church. But then the other side of me thought about, well, that's why, not saying they shouldn't help, but we should be prepared for those type of things, because there's a lot of places, I would imagine, still in Houston that has not recovered from the flooding and stuff. Because sometimes when I drive around Houston, I see houses and you can see that water line from where it flooded. In some of those houses, the water line is, pretty far up there. So it's just a lot. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you have a church, you should, do your best to help people. Let's see here. Kelly, how you doing? Says they're doing what now? Yeah, they are fining people, but it's found to be unconstitutional for them to do that, for sleeping in parks or on sidewalks and things like that. And in a place called, Grant Pass in Oregon, they're charging people, fining rather, $295 per fine. That's crazy. Troy, how you doing? Says, didn't California make it illegal to sleep in your car? They did, but I think that got overturned as well. Because, all right, I got a car, I don't have a house. Where am I supposed to sleep? Like, come on, Judge Dredge says in Houston, they live in slums and have expensive cars. It's about priorities. Yes, some people do that. Some people have nice cars and living in slums or whatever the case is. And, there's some people who just don't want to buy a house, and that's fine. A lot of wealthy people don't own a house themselves to live in. Now they might have real estate property. But yeah, if your priorities are turned around, you might want to revisit that. You also say, I see this every day. Norris says, Demetra, you are a great Black leader and teacher. Listening to you has helped change the direction of my thinking, open my eyes. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But as I say, I learn from you guys as well. I'm always trying to absorb knowledge, apply it as well. But I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Judge says most of the homeless I see are black people. So what's the real agenda here? Right. Well, black people are at the bottom of the totem pole and everything. So of course we're going to be the most homeless population. We need our reparations, right? We know that it'll take probably more now, 232 years for us to catch up to the wealth of white people. That's how big the wealth gap is. And that is largely in part to reparations not being paid to our ancestors. So the wrong of slavery was not righted. Reparations, right, to make a repair for what you did. All that free labor they were never paid for. Then you have Jim Crow. You have, even to this day, systemic and institutional racism. And that just makes the wealth gap wider. Of course, you have your Black Wall Streets that were dilapidated, and all the other Wall Streets and Black towns, and just everyday life for Black people in America. And they say pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Well, it's like, all right, first of all, we don't even have no boots, right? But then you have the housing that goes up and up and up and up. So we don't have nowhere to live. But the other part of that is on us too, because if you know that housing is going up and you're not making a lot of money, find a couple of people that you can room with, share a house, build, save, so that you can get back on your feet, wash, rinse, repeat, because that's what everybody else does. So we just have to learn to kind of do that a little bit more. The average logical thinker says, don't forget the church is tax exempt, more cash on hand to provide for the community. Are you kidding? More cash on hand to get gators, gators and double R's, all of that kind of stuff. Now, I wish I was being facetious, but that's what you see a lot of these big time mega churches. And I think that they should have something, but I don't think they should ever be living so large above the congregation because it's like, what are you doing with the money? Yeah, you're going to keep the lights on at the church because that's where you get your money. But if you got your congregation that's struggling, because back in the day, they used to have a benevolent fund. And some churches, I'd imagine, still do, but maybe not as much, where, brother or sister so-and-so needed gas bill money. They would write them a check. Yeah, we have it. How much is your gas bill? Oh, it's $300. Okay, here you go. But where are those funds anymore? It's crazy. I follow this page on Instagram called Preachers and Sneakers. And it's a parody account, but it shows the preachers and the very expensive tennis shoes that they wear. Some of them are in the tennis shoes or shoes are in the thousands of dollars. And they walking around on stage in tennis shoes talking to you in the tennis shoes that you help pay for. It's crazy. And Sonny, you says, did TD Jakes step down? I don't know. I don't know anything about TD Jakes. I did hear about the whole power bottom stuff. He said it wasn't true, but I don't know. Leonard, he says, look at the ghetto area where Tyler Perry's studio sits. Is it in the hood? Is he employing people at least from that neighborhood? And Kelly says, there was a homeless man that came into the church I used to go to when I was a child, and he wanted to give them money he collected from his cans, and they told him to get. See, it's crazy. Judge, you say Osteen, a devil in a suit, he paid $1 billion for his church. That's actually not true. And the reason why I say, I studied Joel Osteen because at one particular time he was getting a bad rap. People were saying he's a horrible person, this, that, and the other. So I researched because I'm one of those people. I like to research things. Joel Osteen's father actually had that church years and years and years and years before where it is now. It was a small church, very small church, and then outgrew that. His dad suddenly died, and he said he didn't want the church. Joel said I did not want the church. I didn't want that responsibility. He said he was working behind the scenes, right, like the audio department and all that. Nothing major, but then they were telling him you need to step up. So he said he did reluctantly. He's glad he did now. But the church wasn't always what we see it to be. But the other thing about Joel Osteen is he gets a lot of his money. Most of it is from his books. And, he has podcasts and just different things like that. Now, I'm sure the church does pay him a salary. But I hear people say that about him a lot, that he is getting over, if you will. In his particular case, that's not the truth. And I don't know Joel Osteen from a hole in the wall, but I did do my research because I know it's easy to demonize a lot of pastors and preachers and things like that. Some of them are really doing a good job. Some of them aren't. Probably not. A lot of them are not. And admittedly, I don't know what all that Joel is doing, but I know that he's not bilking the church for money and spent billions of dollars on the church. I don't know, he might have to this point, but at first, he had to fight the city and a whole bunch of other people to even get that church. They didn't want him to have the church, and first they did not have the money, and they did raise the money. Where was it? The old, I forget what building it is, a big whatever it was, it's at now, but they had to do a lot of work to get it. So that's just telling you what I know. Miss Sweets, how you doing? And Roland says, I love your show, Miss D. I love you too. Thank you so much. And Damon says, when AI kicks in, you will see more people on the streets. The transfer of wealth will be off the hook. Oh my God. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day about AI, and I'm like, it would behoove us all to learn more about AI because it's to the point to where it's affecting humans. And that was said years ago, Terminator, right? People thought that was just fiction, but now it's here, it's reality. Hey Brina, how you doing? And Leonard says 47% of Black Americans is middle class and have been since 1971. Look it up. All right, I have heard something like that. So then, if almost 50% of Black Americans are middle class, then why are we struggling? I don't know. I'm just asking. Only Pamela's Way, how you doing? And you also say only 21% of Black America lives in poverty. The others live in the inner city and are afraid to leave New York City, etc. Okay. Arneva says, true, if our people had a culture of saving and investing, there wouldn't be a wealth gap. I say this from experience. Oh, yeah. You know, we are very want based. Buy what I want, beg for what I need. And we need to save money now. We're at crunch time. Walter explained it best about inflation one time when he's on here. He says, inflation, yeah, you don't necessarily feel it right away unless you're going to make like a big purchase of something. But inflation, it chips away at your savings, right? Over time. So you might see that you had a savings, you didn't need to touch it. But now it's like, oh, I'm going to have to get a couple of dollars off of my savings to go pay for something I need. So people need to reverse that and say, okay, while I would love to have a new closet full of summer clothes, I just can't do that right now because I don't know how long this inflation is going to last. Sounds like it's going to get much worse. The feds aren't thinking about dropping the inflation, the interest rates just yet. So it sounds like it's going to stay this way, if not get worse. So you're going to have to think about those things. You also say, Leonard, 32% of Black America is upper middle class and above. Okay. Metamorphosis, how you doing? It says, Osayo, folks. So what I missed, you was in physical therapy. You ain't missed much. We just talking right now. And I'm going to skip down so I can catch up. Oh, I'm caught up. Look at that. Look at that. All right, so let me go back. Mindful Moment says most communities live with each other well into adulthood and can build wealth. While we are spoiled, I think you meant, we don't help each other and band together the way that we should. We used to do that. We don't do that anymore, but we used to do that. We used to band together. Hey, as long as I got a little sliver of floor, make yourself a cot and you can have it, right? To get on your feet, do what you need to do. But we don't operate like that anymore. You know, I remember almost 2 years ago. Wow, it's been that long. My grandfather passed away. And he was in Florida, traveled to Florida, as a lot of people did. Some people didn't have a hotel yet. They drove from different places. And they were like, well, we're going to go try to find a hotel. Me and my sister was like, no, you're not. You're going to stay right here. And it was probably like 12, 15 people in the house. And it was so cozy, so comfortable. You know, even with all those people in the house, everybody had a nice place to sleep and, was able to do everything they need. We made sure everybody ate. They didn't have to lift a finger. And I told my sister, because we slept in the same bed, when it was all said and done, and my daughter was in there with us, I said, our mother and our grandmother would be proud. And she says, you're right. Because that's how they were. You're not going to go get no hotel. We got, a couch or whatever. There's some beds or whatever here, but you're going to sleep here. But that attitude and mentality of helping one another, unfortunately, it is starting to disappear. And it's sad. Judge says, no, Osteen did pay almost $1 billion for the old comps. That's what it is. Compact Center. I live in Houston. Don't matter how he got the money, he could help the poor. Um, yeah, I agree with that too. But can I throw something out there that's probably going to be a little bit controversial, and I don't mean it to be? Mother Teresa, she said the best way to help the poor, and I'm not really kind of relating this part to him, but I just feel like I need to say this. The best way to help the poor is not to become one. So a lot of times when people, and I know Joel Osteen, I listen to him, I don't know him, but I listen to him sometimes, and he gives a lot of good information, right? To kind of change the trajectory of your life if it's not doing well. So a lot of times, yeah, we need to help people like right now on the spot. But then a lot of times people are being helped. They're giving advice. They're, giving stuff so they can go like the give a man a fish mentality. If you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, right? So me listening to Joel Osteen is kind of how he operates. I don't know that he doesn't or does help the poor, so I'm not speaking on that behalf. But I'm saying a lot of times when you tell people what to do, give them advice, it's like you don't want that. You just want the right now. And of course, I'm not demonizing the poor or nothing like that. I'm just saying sometimes when we give information, some people don't want that. Oh, that sounds too hard. I don't want to do that. Like, okay, you're struggling. You might not want to go on vacation this year. You might not want to buy that. You might not want to go out as much. You might not want to eat out as much. It's probably cheaper to eat at home. You tell people that, and then they find themselves in a bad spot. Then they're like, can you help me? Well, I helped you when I told you how to keep your money, but you went and spent your money. You don't have any. And now I, who am responsible with my money, I'm supposed to help you and give you my money when I gave you advice. That was the most valuable thing I could give you. And you did not take it. You took your resources and had a good time, as my mama said, good time, Charlie, and right? You went out there and had a good time. And then because you bought what you wanted, and then you coming to me begging for what you need. So again, I don't know what Joel is doing, but if I know he gives good advice, and sometimes we need to learn how to take advice. I don't know, but I hear what you're saying though. Lene, how you doing? He says prosperity gospel. Yeah, but it's like you got all this prosperity gospel, but everybody in the church broke. What's going on? Samuel, how you doing? Since the Democrats and Republicans are showing the public how they feel about them, money for everyone and every who, but the people who need it. Yep. Uh Black America. Okay. Avenge the Ancestors. How you doing? And Metamorphosis says, uh, somebody calling me. I don't know who it is. It says this is why they call. This is what they call the new norm. Oof. Leonard says, if you post a link, I will explain why Black America is not as bad off as people say. I take your word for it. One who cares how you doing says, I am late to the live. You're right on time. Damon says World War III will cause hyperinflation. Get your prep on, family. Oh yeah, we're gonna see it go through. We're already seeing it. I told you I went to the store and bought like 3 bags of groceries, $99.90. That's how much I spent. Alonzo, how you doing? Says, I'm reminded of the saying, there's nothing new under the sun. We need to go back to the staying home past the age of 18. We were doing that before integration. Hello, all. No, nowadays we kick our people out the house when they're 18 and then teach them nothing, but we kick them out the house. And then they get out there and struggle. Black America, he says, Miss D, who is the we that are struggling? Walter does well. Donovan's doing great. And you seem good. Well, we can't take just a few people. Now, there's a lot of people in Black America that's doing well, but if you think of the whole of Black America, yeah, probably not. We're at the bottom of everything. Every statistic you can find, we are not doing that well. So when you talk about a couple of people, Dr. Claude Anderson said you're talking about the exception. Jesse says he kept the doors closed during Hurricane Rita or Ike that hit Houston, so it was Harvey. It was Hurricane Harvey. Carmen, how you doing? Says Joel Osteen about the Compact Center where the Rockets used to play. Yeah, I knew it was something where somebody played, but thank you. Ashley, how you doing? The judge says Boulay always think it's all good because it's good with you. It's irritating when I hear that. Right. I'm glad you said that. Oh yes, Lene says Joel Osteen prosperity gospel. Yeah. I would definitely say that's what it is, because I don't go to church, but I do know the Bible a little bit. The Bible does talk about prosperity a lot. Somehow we got our wires crossed and that it's noble to be poor. And it's like, no, it ain't. Like Reverend Ike, God bless his soul. He was a prosperity preacher too. He says, uh, the root of, he says, the love of money is not the root of all evil. He says, the lack of money is the root of all evil, because when people don't have money, they tend to do evil things to get it. So, but that's kind of unfortunately in some of our churches, we've been taught that money is bad. It's noble to be poor. And it's like, Dwayne says the homeless are squatting in people's homes and we can't get them out with the F. Yeah, but you see, they starting to change those laws, right? Kelly says they don't listen. Yep. Mindful Moment says totally agree. JJ says black folks should stay away from these Asian, Arab, and Hispanic stores and support your own. That's a start, right? That'd be a good start. Judge says it's easy if your daddy leave you a legacy. Mine just left me alone. You know what? He ain't never had a real job in his life. Yeah, it'd be nice to leave your children a legacy, but I also think that while you're here, you should spend some of that. And if there's something left over for them, great. Get a life insurance policy or something like that. But while I'm here, because I know a lot of people do it backwards, right? Oh, I'm going to save for my grandkids or my kids. Well, that way when I leave here, they'll have something. Like, I'm going to try my damnedest to spend it. Okay? And if I ain't taught you how to go get it, then I don't know what to tell you now. If there's something left over, it's all yours. Every penny. But then have a life insurance policy. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy life while I'm here, because I'm not. But God forbid I could step up off of the curb and, get hit by a tricycle or something. And I've saved all that money for what? Herschel says there's always a way. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians for black people to try to live on top of each other. Yeah, we need to change that mindset. It's all right that you lead. Okay, you said do it this way. I don't have a problem with that, because I'm going to leave my ego out of this. It is ego driven. Who are you? Yeah, you tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to do. Who made you die? We can say that real quick. Who died and made you God? Jesse says, right. Unfortunately, those days are over. Mindful Moment says another reason why some black people are living good while others aren't in the people that make it in the family are expected to take care of everyone else. Other communities don't do that. Yeah. In our community, that is true. The ones that got it is like, can you help me? I need it. Instead of saying, okay, like I'm one of those people, I don't mind helping you, but let's help you do something. Because my dad says, I'm not going to help you do nothing, right? But like, get the game. Figure out how people are making the money. And also say, too, if you have a family business, don't go outside and hire other people. Now, I know sometimes family is hard to work with or whatever. The family you can work with, hire them, but sending the dollars outside of the family is nonsensical, because a lot of other communities don't do that, right? And Sonia says, woo, that lady was something else, Mother Teresa. Yeah, she was. Damon says, chat by a newspaper tomorrow, date 4/24/24. Oh, yeah. What we saving it for? I mean, I get the numbers. JJ says, the NOI had a great economic plan for Black America. Yes, indeed. And I give to it every month. I have been for years. It just automatically comes out of my account. Mindful Moment says people have to help uplift themselves. When you get a leg up from family, use it to uplift yourself. Yeah, don't use it to go trick off. Use it to like really make a difference, right? Craig, how you doing? And Judge says inflation, corporate greed. That's all. Nora says my mother and other old ladies in the neighborhood used to buy Christmas gifts for young single mothers with children. It was a wonderful thing to see. Yeah, that is wonderful, because the kids, they like to have gifts and stuff like that. But y'all know I'm not one to celebrate Christmas. I used to back in the day. I don't celebrate it anymore. But if I was to buy something, I would buy like books and things like that. Things that people could use. Because toys, but it's fun to have a toy. You don't want to rob the kids of fun, right? Lene says a lot of people are broke because the cost of living is too high, inflation way out of control. Oh yeah, a lot of people are becoming that now, and it's really through no fault of their own. Because when you have inflation and you don't and wages rather don't rise, then the wages end up doing this, and pretty soon people can't afford the basic necessities. Most people pay most of their income on housing. Most people do. And Carmen, if I didn't already, how you doing? It says saying what people should do with their money is easy. Guess we should get rich and donate. A lot of pocket watching goes on with us. Yeah, I'm not one to tell people what to do with their money. I'm a saver. I buy some things that I want, but I mostly buy what I need. But I tell you what, I'm gonna tell you what to do with your money if you come asking me for mine. I'm just saying, I don't think it's right that you, for whatever reason, I can understand if you in a bad way, through no fault of your own. But if I know you to be out there tricking off your money and you come asking me to help you, I don't think so. Why should I take care of your responsibilities while you out there having a good time? What did I do to deserve that? Nothing. Um, Nyla, how you doing? Says price gouging should be illegal for everyone, including the food industries. Oh, I totally agree with you because it's definitely going on. I saw where a lady, she bought some meat, and on the package it said it was a certain amount of ounces or whatever, but then when she weighed it herself, it was like far less. And she says, y'all be careful, weigh your food and stuff, because these grocery stores are cheating people, and you just don't realize. You see a price on something, you just think, oh, okay, that's what it is, I'm gonna pay for it. But she says when she weighed it, it was like, you're robbing me. How many times have you actually done this to me? One who cares says, hey family, stock up on your non-perishable goods, batteries, flashlights, chocolate, beans, noodles, etc. Yep. Mindful Moment says we have to stop relying on one single solitary person who work hard to uplift the whole family. Yep. And they get mad when you tell them no. JW, how you doing? Says Black First Canada. Sorry for being late to class, and you are right on time. Hey Corey, how you doing? Herschel says that's true. Reverend Ike, I love me some Reverend Ike. I don't care what nobody say. God rest his soul. DJ Cool Chris, how you doing? Good evening to you. M, what's going on with you? Says more like gossip. The preacher is riding in private jets and living on compounds, but the congregation has lint in their pockets. But again, as I say, not you, but anybody. Why would anybody be sitting in the church and your pastor is doing that and you struggling? That's kind of your fault. Because I'm not sitting up in nobody church watching them sashay up and down the aisle and gators and all that and getting on jets and Rolls Royces while I'm getting on the bus. I don't think so. See, that make me a fool. And in that same Bible, it says a fool and his money shall soon part. So if you a fool sit up in the church giving a pastor all that money while you going home to struggle, I mean, that's on you. Those churches cannot stand financially unless it was the congregation that's helping them do so. But see, a lot of people are guilted into doing that. Oh, you gonna go to hell? Well, a man robbed God. Yes, through tithes and offerings. And so people just feel guilty. They're like, I know I shouldn't sow this seed of faith, this last $20 need to feed my family. But then they're told, oh, just do it and God is gonna come through. It's like, is that really wise? It is not. JW says, yep, keep supporting your own. I never spend my dollars with Asian shopkeepers. And let's see, I'm gonna skip down just a little bit so I can catch up. Sammy says, correction, Reverend Ike was the one who said the quote, the best way to help the homeless is not to become one of them. Mother Teresa also said that as well. So maybe they just kind of got it from one another, but you also know there's no original thought in the universe. JW says, has Demetra spoken to the fact that we are locked out of real estate still? Also that newcomers are bringing a lot of development world living conditions to the USA. Yeah, so when I talk about systemic and institutional racism, that counts. All that counts. So I'm not saying that there's all this is our fault. I would say a lot of it is not our fault. But the things that we can control, we should control that. We've been told that from years. Ago. Marcus Garvey, up your mighty nation, accomplish what you will. The Nation of Islam, do for self. Dr. Claude Anderson says practice group economics. So some of that is within our control. Other groups do that. They do all of that. That's why they get things a lot faster, So the things that we can control, we need to control that. That's all I'm saying. Because I tell you what, ain't no white man nowhere making me spend, God knows how much on a Louis purse, a Gucci purse, or anything like that. No white man is making me do that. None. Now, are they controlling maybe the real estate and all that? Yeah, they may be doing that. But as far as the stuff that we don't need and we're buying, nobody's making us do that. So that's all I'm saying. Judge says, so Black people is for self. Stop talking about the Black community. We ain't got one. Yeah, that's what they say. We don't have a community, just neighborhoods. JW says America is going to have a lot of favelas and coffin homes. Okay. All right. Let me skip down so I could catch up. Who else came on here that I did not see? Oh, am I at the bottom? No. Yes, I'm at the bottom. All right. And JW says, I really think the U.S. A tax system needs to be overhauled. That is what's keeping y'all poor. Yeah, it definitely needs to be overhauled. There's people who aren't making as much as rich people that are paying taxes. Of course, I know there's different things that they use, but yeah, they definitely need to overhaul that. I think Trump was talking about that when he was in office the last time. Mindful Moment says, we are hard headed as hell. We can't take advice from one another. Like you said, I tried with my family to no avail. I had to pay a lot of things that I've learned and tried to give it away for free. A lot of people don't want advice. They want the money. Give me the money. Keep your advice. Just give me the money. It's like, well, if you would take the advice and actually apply it, you might be better off. But, you know, I don't think anybody should sacrifice what they have to help somebody who's just not willing to take advice. Now, I know there's some advice is not going to put food on the table right now. So I get that. We should help people. But okay, what's going on? Talk to me. How can we, what do we need to do to help you, get to the next level and that kind of stuff. But if people aren't willing to listen, it's like you shouldn't have to sacrifice what you've built for that. Judge, you say my daddy was about bootstraps before they made a word for it. Okay. Dwayne says the Democratic Party is clearly anti-American citizens, especially us blacks. So to all, don't ever vote Democrat for any elected offices. I mean, there's some cases if they're really going to do something right, but as we've seen, a lot of them just they really don't care. Damon says the U.S. tax system can make you rich if you have a strong business or L. You mean like LLC? Is that what you meant to say? And the M says agreed. That whole religion thing is more like social clubs. And Corey says, I'm getting ready to stock up on my canned goods. Yeah, you be stocking up because it's about to hit, if not already, right? Amy says exactly, Demetri K. Them people ensure they stay on top. They will take out a loan for a life insurance policy to guarantee their descendants' success. Us, not so much. I got mines. And I also want to say, too, that Black people are the most insured. We're just the most underinsured. And that's done by design. Back in the day, it was done out of racism because them folks know that life insurance policies, when one dies, it does leave a legacy. So they didn't necessarily want us to have a legacy. They just want us to have a burial, which is why a lot of us have burial insurance, or we buy plots, not really realizing you still need money to put somebody in that ground, right? So you kind of still need, not kind of, but you need a life insurance policy as well. A life insurance policy does leave wealth, it transfers wealth and our legacies. A lot of people, when they get life insurance, they don't just get enough to bury their loved one. They get enough to say, hey, you know what? I want my children to have something, or my wife or my husband, so they can continue on living the life they was living and, building a legacy. But when you die in debt, that's what you leave your people, debt. And JW says, yes, I agree. But a lot of Black Americans and Canadians have the individualist mindset. Yeah. And we try to pass that off as, well, I'm doing well. The rest of y'all, if I'm doing well, then we're all doing well. It's like, okay, all right. That's like saying I took the aspirin for my headache, but you shouldn't have a headache after I take it. You should be fine too. Just wait a minute. It's like, well, all right. Samuel, he says, I only support Black businesses. Only I would never support any business that don't look like me, that low key don't like me because of Black. Yeah. And in some cases, you have to shop elsewhere, right? HEB, Kroger, Ralph's, Stater Brothers. Those probably aren't Black owned. So you got to go to those grocery stores. But if you can go buy it from somebody Black, absolutely, you should do that. Totally agree. Black America says, here at the age of 50, you've been 50 a long time. You sure you ain't turned 51, 52 yet? Says, here at the age of 50, I have given enough the rest of my life, and money is getting spent on me. Listen, brother, that we agree. I totally agree with you on that. I think you're probably one of those people who have helped a lot of people. And it's like, okay, at what point do I just start helping myself? Because if I keep giving you my stuff, then I ain't going to have it. And I can't go to you for it because you ain't got it because you're getting it from me. So, yeah. JW, you say, yes, favelas, the poor neighborhoods in Brazil, coffin homes, is an expression to describe apartments in China. Oh, okay. See, learn something new. I didn't know that. Alonzo says, when I was in business, I've had a couple. He says, I found that we hate to patronize each other. Some of us expect beyond professionalism when they do shop with you, and customer service was at the forefront. Yeah, of course, we should all give the same level of customer service that we would give anybody else. But I agree with you. Sometimes we hold our own feet to the fire more than we do everybody else. It's like, if you're not jumping around like Jiminy Cricket and jumping through hoops of fire just to give them, a napkin, then they gonna go tell everybody, oh, don't go there, because it's like, as I always say, Taco Bell done messed up your order every time you went, and you ain't never went on social media to tell a soul. But let a black restaurant do it, you gonna go off. Sad. Let's see here. Your average logical thinker says, I went to church one day and the pastor said the 8 o'clock service gives more the 8 o'clock service gives more money than y'all at 11 o'clock service. I was like, well, damn, right? So it's a competition now, right? Oh, don't let them outdo you. They giving more money away there. It's like, okay, how about I don't go to no service? And JJ said, stop watching these ignorant rappers who parade their diamond jewelry and expensive clothes and videos, because it ain't really theirs, right? It's borrowed. And Nyla says, what is your thoughts in regards to transferring some of our resources to Black-owned banks? These banks are denying Black people loans. Yeah, I have a Black-owned bank, One United. I don't have a Black-owned bank. I have an account, One United. But yeah, I think we should put more money in those banks. I've never tried to get a loan from them. I just kind of keep some money up in there. But it is said that we'll have an easier time of doing it. But at the end of the day, we also got to remember that for the most part, right? If not, credit is, loans are based on your credit. So if you have decent credit, should be able to get a loan. I know in a lot of cases, if they know you're Black, they may discriminate against you or whatever. But yeah, I suggest putting it in a Black-owned bank, but make sure it's Black-owned. I know Killer Mike was saying that he had a Black-owned bank. He started one. So I was curious. I looked at the board, and there's a lot of people who ain't Black. So I'm like, well, how Black-owned is that bank if you got other people who don't look Black or not Black running the bank? So we need to really get good at looking into those things. I know New York City, for the cards that they're using to give migrants with the money on it, they're saying, oh, well, it's a Black-owned bank. It's a Black-owned business. So that business is benefiting. So what did I do? I went and looked, and it's like, yeah, it's a Black man. I think he's African, maybe. Don't quote me. I think he is somewhere like that. And everybody else on there is white, Indian or something else. So I'm like, but it's a Black-owned bank. But they know they can say that because most Black people ain't gonna go look. They'll just say, oh, it's a Black-owned bank. No, go look when it says Black-owned. Make sure it is. Like a lot of hair products say, oh, it's for Black hair. And then you go look, it's, somebody else that's not Black owning it. So it's like, do you really even know anything about Black hair? So just do your research. JW says, sorry, I assumed you heard the terms before. God awful living conditions is coming to America and Canada. Coming, it's here, right? It's already here. Some of us just aren't really experiencing it just yet. But unfortunately, it's going to get worse. And I don't think people really realize how bad it's really going to get. So if you, could get together with somebody, do that. Judge says, instead of getting rich, I learned to live with less, and I'm good with that. Yeah, a lot of times people think the goal is to get rich. It's nice, right? Money solves all things. That's what the Bible says. But some people are just content, like you said, I got what I need, and I don't stress out about trying to get more. I'm content. And that's okay too. I think I would choose that as well. I just want to be happy, because money don't mean that you're happy. But you have a roof over your head, food to eat, and sometimes do some of the things you want. That's a good life. But a lot of people don't appreciate those things because they're too busy chasing money. And it's like you're going to chase money until you die and realize you didn't even really live, because you never stopped to do that. You just kept chasing money. So I'm one of those people. I want to live a good life. That doesn't mean jet setting all over the place. It just might mean sitting down like I did today, finish my book, and wash my hair. And that's what I did today. And I was happy with that. And here I am. And let's see here. Callie says Agenda 2030. It says over 900-page PDF details U.S. mandates. C40, 15-minute cities, rewilding disarmament. I'm sorry. Watch how they did Holodomor starvation not long ago. And again, I'm gonna have to research all this because it's. Pamela says you can't even tell our people what to do to get money. Shaking my head. Them folks is all in it, right? But sometimes we gotta, have our little secret meetings like they did back in the day, right? Even our ancestors that were on the plantation, they knew how to have secret meetings, right? Okay, after we get done, doing this back breaking labor, we gonna meet and we gonna talk, and we ain't gonna do it all out in the open. See, sometimes we got to learn how to do that. But with the inception of social media, we're so busy putting everything on social media instead of saying, okay, the meeting's at my house at 6 o'clock when everybody get off work. Come to my house. I'm serving dinner, and we gonna do some real strategizing and put some actions, do some real action planning and follow throughs and all of that. See, we need to get back to doing those things, and you can do it with your family. Nora says, God never told me to be stupid. We need to learn the game. How can you play the game if you don't learn the game? Absolutely, totally agree with you. Yes, Damon, so you meant LLC. Okay, got you. Avenged Ancestor says, you're absolutely right, Queen Demetra. Advice is more valuable than money. It really is, especially if you apply it, right? All right, let me skip down just a little bit. Your average logical thinker says, I just looked over my notes from the book, What Would the Rockefellers Do?, where it discusses a family trust which builds and keeps real generational wealth. Yeah, Rockefeller, shoot, they're one of the most wealthiest families ever to live. I think it was David Rockefeller, but he had like 8, 9 heart transplants. He left out of here at the age of, I think, 100 and something. Like he's like, I'm gonna get as many hearts as I can pay for. But he didn't want to leave that wealth. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know. He's no longer here, but he had the money to keep getting hearts. It's like, how many people did he jump in front of to get those hearts? Because he had money. More threads. How you doing? It says, I think many are slowly waking up and the shaming tactics don't work. Dems are going to do a lot of complaining and blaming Black people in November. Let those who the people they did vote for them. Absolutely. Oh, okay, so Black America gonna be 51 in July. I knew you have been 50 for a minute. No worries, more threads. And get a shot of melanin. How you doing? It says, I'm in Chicago. I used to pay a little over 1,000 for state taxes. Now I'm paying almost 3. Like, wow. I guess that having taxpayers pay the bill for immigration. You better believe it. You better believe it. Alvin, how you doing? It says, the last Asian store I was in, the lady told me to hurry up and buy. I said, okay, bye-bye. And left. That was 15 years ago, and I never returned less than a year after store closed. Yeah, they can't act right. They shouldn't be here anyway because we are their customers. But if they ain't gonna act right, you got to go. Bye bye. You talking to me crazy and you eating because I'm here? Oh hell no. Judge says, I tried to do a Black bank and they wanted more paperwork than a white folks bank. I will say this. With my Black bank that I have an account with, yeah, it's a little because there's not a lot of Black banks, like they're not chains everywhere. Mine is in Los Angeles, so I have to do a lot online. And for a while, there was a lot of kinks, and I was like, oh, this is more than a bargain for. And I wanted to close the account a couple times because it was just so much. I was like, but they worked out the kinks, so it seems like it's a little better because I just want them to withdraw money from my other bank account once every 2 weeks, but it was just kind of hard to set up, and I had to do this, that, and the other. I was like, oh my God, it's just taking it's just a lot. So I figured it out nevertheless. Sammy says, is it still okay to buy stocks? I'm trying to purchase my first stock in maybe Amazon, Nike, Adidas, and Microsoft. Well, I'm not really well versed in stocks. I have played the stock market, and I want you to pay attention to the word played. There's a lot of people who make money in the stock markets. I'm not a professional to tell you to do it or not to do it. All I can say to you is, just for me, the best way I can describe stock market, playing the stock market, it is a glamorous or more glorified way of gambling, because it is a gamble. And I would say this, if you don't have a lot of money, don't put all that you have, or into the stock market, because it is a gamble and you might lose your money. um, if you do it, make sure it's not something that you need. That's the best advice I could give you for that. Pamela says, no, each and every type I had, he says, each and every time, he says, I think had to and look, because that's the game. Oh, I'll tell them everything. So something's off. Maybe I just read it wrong. And Judge says, you got different kinds of trust. Yes, indeed. That's why you should really ask a professional about that. Judge says, after being in prison, you kind of just enjoy the simpler things in life. After you lose everything, getting in there. Oh, yes. Trust me. I told you about the house fire I had. I lost everything. And from that point, I just thought about life differently, because I could have been God forbid, burnt, or not here. Burnt would have been a blessing opposed to not being here. So once I'd lost everything, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to look at life a lot differently. Not that I was materialistic, I wasn't, but I just enjoy life now. I don't need a whole bunch of fancy things and all that kind of stuff to make me happy. Waking up, I find a lot of joy. All right, Candy says, I have a roof over my head, food to eat, and what I need. I'm grateful for what I have and don't complain about what I don't have. Yeah, and then for those who want something more, work toward that, right? Nobody's saying you shouldn't have those things. You should have whatever your heart desires and what you work for. But some people are okay with, I'm doing good. I don't want for anything. So that's important too. Pamela says, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Can't put it all out. Okay. Quita, did I say hello to you? He says, people come up missing for them hearts. Oh, absolutely. Right. Uh, M says, Chicago needs to stop voting for its own oppression. Yeah, that's all of us, right? Stop doing that. Judge says, yeah, bro. I was like, man, if I got to jump through hoops to bank black, forget it. Yeah, I say don't give up, but yeah, sometimes it can be a little harder than going with other chains. Callie says, Lord Rockefeller, Lord Soros, Lord Gates, Lord Moloch Brown, Lord Kerry, Rothschilds, Royal League of Nations, UN, Balfour Declaration. Got you. And Metamorphosis, so you're saying buy stock in AI? Yeah, I can see why you would say that, but I'm going to let you say it and not me. Amy says it's structured a little differently, but they are similarly situated regards to the goal. Got you. Judge says they tried to say I was a drug dealer. I'm retired from the military. My money legit. All right now. JW says yes, stocks market is gambling, so be cautious. That's the best way I could say it, because trust me, I know a lot of people who've lost a lot of money gambling in the stock market. It's risky. If you sit down with a stockbroker or somebody, they'll ask you, what type of risk are you willing to take? What will be comfortable for you? Moderate, aggressive, or low risk. They'll ask you. But the key word is risk. There are risks involved in the stock market. It's not guaranteed. Like there's some things like a life insurance policy, like the ones that I have. You have your principal that never gets affected, but then there's a portion outside of the cash, the cost of insurance that you could put into the stock market, and it'll go up or down or whatever depending on what it's doing. But your principal is never affected. But outside of that, yeah, it's risky. And like I said, even sometimes with that, it is. Alonzo says the stock market can crush you. Hard to find trustworthy stock houses that honor Black people's money. And JW says, but them folks often bequeath their kinfolk stock to avoid real estate taxes. Yep. They know the game, and we can know it too, right? We just need to try to figure it out. Judge says stock market is rigged for insiders. So I heard. Callie says huge opportunity in crypto as U.S. transitions to cashless, but who has that much time to study? Yeah, but that's the problem. It's hard I don't want to say it's hard for us to study. People don't study anymore because now I don't know if you guys have been on Facebook or Google, even Instagram. They have a thing that says Ask AI. Have y'all seen that? So what's going on is now your brains are being replaced. Instead of you going to actually look at Google, all you have to say is, tell me X, Y, and Z, and AI is going to tell you. So that robs you of thinking. We don't want to think anymore. Have we gotten to the point in the world that we no longer want to think for ourselves? That's where we are. AI is like, don't worry, I'll think for you. So what happens when you stop thinking? You get dumb. You don't know how to critically think anymore. And that's where we are as humans now. The AI has already taken over. A lot of people say, oh, no, it hasn't. It has. Anytime you can just put your lips to the phone, even when you say, hey, Siri, and I shouldn't have said that. See, she wants to know what I want. But those things are doing the thinking for us, and we don't realize that. It's crazy. So we should study, but we're not to the point where we study anymore because we can just ask a question and it'll tell us. M says, thinking in terms of 401k, I'd say talking to average logical thinker. And Perry, how you doing? Long time no see. You said you shouldn't vote. You shouldn't vote out one Democrat to replace it with another. The majority of Dems are the same, unfortunately, and you're absolutely right. Judge says, yeah, don't gamble money you can't afford to lose. That's the best advice I could give you. Alonzo says, you need real money to play the stock game. I would suggest day trading at first to familiarize yourself with that. Yeah, and even with that, I know a lot of people have lost money, thinking that they're, the Wolf of Wall Street or whatever it is, and it's like, wow, you lost all of that money, and they're like a novice, right? They're just kind of Robin Hooding it, and all these other the Weeble and all these other things. It's like you had no earthly idea of what you were doing, and now you lost all your money. Okay, so be careful. That's all I'm saying. And Rajab, how you doing? It says black men vote Trump 2024. Yeah, Trump is on trial now. We're gonna see how it's gonna go. He's on trial for that hush money he paid the porn star Stormy Daniels. There's a lot of people involved. The Inquirer, I guess the guy that was over that, he allegedly was in cahoots with killing negative stories about Trump. The allegations that they paid Stormy Daniel not to say anything. They're saying that he unfairly influenced elections. And his lawyer's like, well, that's not unfairly influencing elections. It's democracy. All candidates influence of their election to their favor. And if you run a campaign ad or something like that, right? So if you ask me, I think it's a witch hunt. I'm not a Trump supporter, but just looking at it, it's a witch hunt. The good thing for Trump, I don't know. All he needs is one person to say, well, I don't agree. I cannot find him guilty. He just needs one. That could very much happen. Then they've wasted all that time, at least in that case, trying to get, to send them to jail for doing what most people do, which is the crazy part. So, I mean, you tell the Inquirer, which is like now the Inquirer is considered credit worthy. The Inquirer used to get, be on and I guess it still is, on the stand at the cash register full of gossip. But now, because he tells people to kill the story that may come in about me negative, now I'm on trial for that? It's crazy. I don't know. But nevertheless, I'm just kind of following it to some degree to see what's going on. All right. And Judge says, we got a few ops in here, I see. Well, I don't, let me know if you see them. And Alonzo, I don't see them, but if I'll pay more attention. Alonzo, you say AI is killing the critical thinking. Oh yeah, people don't think no more. Oh my God, I cannot tell you some of the conversations that I avoid with people because I'm like, I'm sorry. My brain cells will not allow me to stoop that low. I cannot do it. Sorry. Amy says AI will not age well. I promise you, homeschool. Oh yes, it's already not aging well. You got a lot of idiots running around thinking they know something because they can put their lips to a phone and say, tell me the time of day. That reminds me, back in the day, you used to be able to call, I don't know the number, to find out what time it was. Metamorphosis says, use AI to predict stocks. Laugh out loud. Yeah, right. Or lotto numbers, right? And Kelly says, that's why I still research my stuff. I mean, myself, and don't use Chat GPT. I have it. I'll use it sometimes to maybe cross reference or just kind of see what comes up. If I need something really quick and I'm not in a position to research, but I hardly ever use it because I'm one of those people. I like to kind of get the information for myself because even that can be wrong. Because where is it getting it from? It's getting it from the internet that probably has, not probably, but has a lot of incorrect sources on there as well. So it's not always right either. Dwayne says, family, I'm going to do an online business when I get out of the hole. So check out working online, what you got to lose. Okay. Arneva says, maybe AI was invented to get us to stop thinking. Oh, for sure. For sure. You get everybody to stop thinking, then you stop thinking about the things you should be thinking about, right? That's why they keep us distracted with the rap beefs and all this other nonsense to stop us from thinking about what's really going on. So AI is doing the thinking for you now. You just become a Frankenstein, a zombie. You don't think for yourself. You got a key in your back, for lack of better words. And AI is, you know, you just become a shell. There's nothing going on inside. It's crazy. Herschel says, I hate that, especially when someone online mentions their assistant. You talk about your AI. Callie says, can't vote your way out of a banana republic. Good point. Your average logical thinker says AI was definitely created to replace humans. Yep. But a lot of people say, nah, that's not true. Clever Lane says, early stage crypto, you can make money now. It's a pyramid scheme. Certain states in America made gold, silver, legal tender. Most people don't know that. Just as Trump will lose that case, they got too many receipts. He only needs one. All he needs is one juror to say, I don't agree, he's not guilty. I cannot find him guilty. Just needs one. But then if you think and look at the stuff in the case, it's like, well, did he really break the law? To tell his homie, hey, if somebody has a bad story about me, don't publish it. Is that really a crime? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking. Nyla say, I inbox you in regards to Bill Gates' digital implant for Kenyan's individual. Shaking my head, this should be illegal. Why didn't he go to Europe? I have not heard nothing. I've heard little rumblings about it, but I guess I have to look more into it. And if he's doing that in Kenya, the Kenyans need to be alert. Alonzo said, Dems and Republicans are the same bird. Let's hold our vote for tangibles. I love it. All right. So your average logical thinker says there's a website dedicated to expose what stock speakers of the House, et cetera, invest in. Donovan spoke about it. It was made to discourage insider trading. I looked it up. It is true. What was it? During the pandemic, a lot of Congress people pulled their money out of the stock market before they announced that it was, in fact, a pandemic going on. So definitely, as always, allegedly, we'll say that insider trading going on. Judge says, just think if Obama did half of what they accused Trump of, and I'm not an Obama fan, how you know he didn't? I'm not saying he did, but how do you know he didn't? Just because you didn't hear about it? And I don't know. I don't think Trump is doing anything, besides insurrection. That's wild, right? I don't think he's doing anything that any other president has not done. I just think what happened with Trump is he got off of the talking points. He got in Washington and went rogue, and it was like, wait a minute now, you supposed to be, we all one gang. They think we're not, but we all one gang. And he got in there and was like, I'm draining the swamp, and all of that. And so I think that's kind of what happened with him. But most presidents do some stuff they're not supposed to be doing. Trump was just kind of a little bit more out in the open with it. You got to remember too, Trump was a big time tycoon, playboy and all that before he became president. What's so funny? I don't even think Trump thought he was going to win president. I think once he actually won, he was like, well, shit, I'm the president. Herschel says, one thing, good thing about Trump being on trial, he's ready to will and deal with Black people. Yeah, you see him trying to marry himself with Black people more and more every day, which is kind of weird, but okay. Clever Lane says, they hyped blockchain technology. Nothing happened. AI will be a fad like blockchain. You think so? I think AI is a little bit more intertwined into everyday life than blockchain. You kind of got to go get the blockchain, get involved in blockchain. But AI is in everything we do. If you have a Ring camera, that's AI. If you drive a modern car, that's AI. You got a cell phone, that's AI. Everything you do is AI. AI is everywhere. You cannot do anything. Big Brother is always watching. You ever heard that? That's AI, which is why you see, a lot of crime being committed nowadays on, Ring cameras, AI. It's everywhere. So it's not a bust. It's in fact it's getting more and more. There, I listened to NPR not too long ago. They talk about the trucks that are already out there, like big rigs that are already AI. Now I don't know if they'll replace truck drivers in a large amount, but they're starting to, you know. So AI is everywhere. It's at the grocery store. It's everything you do. You try to call customer service and it's AI. Or maybe I can help you before I transfer you. Get me to the representative. That's me. I'm like pissed off because I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. But yeah, Callie says Meta just brought out Llama 3. Okay. And Judge says, what black man we know get accused of messing with 16 women and nothing happened? Um, Again, is Trump really rare? A lot of men that run in the same circles with Trump got women. You know what I mean? And is it a crime? The only crime with him messing with 16 women is with his wife. It's not a crime to mess with 16 women. It's, if he took vows with Melania, that's what the issue is. It's not the issue with us if he's messing with other women. Just like it wasn't with Bill Clinton, JFK, and all the other people, the presidents in the White House, that have 14, 11 women. That's for his wife to be taking the frying pan upside his head. Why we got to be involved in what he's doing? He's a cheater, obviously, right? Scumbag to his wife. But as far as messing with 16 women, that's kind of a moral thing for him. I don't know why we even need to be involved in that. Just like we didn't need to be involved with Clinton when he was getting little favors under the desk. Impeached him. Well, he got impeached for lying, but it was stemmed from Monica Lewinsky. You know what I mean? Hillary is fine with it. So she like it. I love it. Cringeworthy, how you doing? Says Democrats always going to hold us back. Yes, indeed. And Perry says I'm voting for Trump to close the border and deport illegal immigrants. Okay, you have your reasons. Callie says AI beast system and Mark. Yeah, if you go into Whole Foods, they have this machine. I guess somehow people have something implanted in their hand, their card information. Somehow, some way, you can just wave your hand, and it'll take your credit card information off of there. I said, ain't that some mess? I would never want to do that. But I remember before they had the Versatile. That's old school, right? The Versatile, the ATM. Before they had that you have to go in the bank. And when they got that, it was like, wow. And now you don't even need the ATM card. Miss B, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for hitting the like button. Appreciate you. M says, I think Atlanta, New York cases are going to be thrown out. It remains to be seen, right? We'll know when we know. Kelly says, I don't think that's a crime. Judge says, let me know when Trump ready to cut that check when I will consider voting for him. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you vote for who you want to vote for. If you want to vote for Biden, yeah, that's your right, even though whatever. If you want to vote for Trump, it's your right, even though whatever, right? That's real democracy, being able to vote for who you want to vote for without people, demonizing you for doing so. Brina says, I use AI sometimes. I use it to create a budget plan and business portfolio. You can't rely on it completely. You have to edit it. Yeah, because it's not always right. Black America says AI was invented to put most women out of work. Well, hell, put me out of work. Shoot. Put me out of work and give me a paycheck when you do it. Alonzo says gold and silver were the only legal tender used in this country until HR 192, which allowed for paper money in 1933. Miss Lachey Bay, how you doing? Says the AI wives are going to replace women. That's what I said. But it's all fun and games until she lock up on you. Then you're going to be calling for your mama, a woman. Be careful. You also say, especially since women have decided not to having babies and not looking for partners. Yeah, some women, not all, but yeah, especially if you're talking about that 4B movement that's now come to America. It's just another thing that white women have co-opted. We're not going to, we're going to abstain from our men. It's like, knock it off. No, you're not. You're just trying to get your husband, your white man, to do what you want him to do. He's never going to do that. So now you're trying to use the 4B movement as it explained. And I heard a woman explain it. a Korean woman, because that's where it comes from. She says in Korea they really have issues with their men, like very what do you call it, chauvinistic and all of that. So they're doing it because they're tired of it. But they're like, in America, you white women literally don't need anything. And y'all vote for your own oppression when you vote for parties that are controlling your body. But yet here you are talking about we're going to do the 4B movement too. For what? You're not oppressed. In fact, you're doing the oppressing. But here you are once again wanting to glom onto women who are oppressed things and make them your own. And then when you get Brad to give you your way, then you're going to drop the movement like a hot potato, and it's not going to mean anything anymore. So, yeah. Metamorphosis says 2025 will be the year they release all, AI tech dorms and all. Okay. And Pamela says that's exactly what it was. Trump was like, I'm doing this. Callie says blockchain is 100% going for the world rulers, as talked about in the G20 side meetings. The side meetings, okay. JW says AI is very scary. I'm afraid of the mistaken facial recognition. Yep, there's implicit white bias and racism in AI. Yeah, they did a study on AI. It was a robot, and it was racist because they plugged in all these, I think, like a billion, if I'm not mistaken, images and just a whole bunch of stuff. And when they asked it certain questions in regards to race, it was racist. So yeah. Keisha, how you doing? Says AI has been with us for a decade or more. The regular folks just wasn't aware of it. Absolutely, it has been around for a while, but it's starting to be intertwined in everything that we do now. Everything, like you can't escape it. Dwayne says young people get into the it jobs. You will start at 63. Oh, so you're telling young people to get into the it jobs. I'm sorry, IT jobs, it jobs. IT jobs, you will start at 63,000 a year. Okay. Which is not even a lot, but more than what they're making. Pamela says exactly. If his wife ain't got nothing to say, I stay out of husband and wife business. Yeah, that's who it's really between. Brina says, I could care less about Trump is messing with, as long as he's not using the people's money to pay for it. Right. Again, he was a tycoon before he got into Washington. Just as I use messing with them to be polite, you know what I mean? He was accused of assaulting them. Yeah, there were some accusations as well. That's true. He should be dealt with. But Biden was also accused of assaulting women, and nobody said a peep. It just got glossed over. So that's what I'm saying. They all accused of that kind of stuff. It's just like, who do you choose to be more mad at? The party you like or the party you don't like? But I never would co-sign anybody doing those things. And let's see. JW says Trump doesn't want the world to know he's endowed. Stormy Daniels knows too much about his small carrot. Yeah, but she was hopping up and down on that small carrot too, right? She took some money to not say nothing about that small carrot, and there she is talking. Alonzo says, funny how all these Dems that hung out with Trump in the days never said anything. Oprah was hanging out with him. She never said nothing. Wonder why. Yeah, with Weinstein as well. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing? Judge says, I don't think voting for any white man will solve our problems. That's where I'm at. Oh, I totally agree with you. Hey, GP, how you doing? Says, a little late getting here because I got back from the gym. What up? Everything and nothing all at the same time. Hey, Brother Reggie, how you doing? I hope you're doing well over there in Japan. Herschel says, I agree, Demetria. When was the last time any of us wrote a check for something? Yeah, I haven't wrote a check. It's been a while. I don't even have checks. I honestly don't know when the last time I had checks. But yeah, you swiping and paying online. I pay most of my bills online. Callie says presidential drama is intentional royal duty. They lose on the face and gain 10,000 more on the back end. Who pandemic treaty passing through U.S. giving up all sovereign rights for citizens? Okay. Perry says Biden is letting these illegals in because these employers can pay those people federal minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. He was never going to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. No way. I know in some places it is. I think, is it California? It's $15, some other places. But yeah, you cannot live on $7.25 an hour. Even kids, It's hard for them to, buy the little things they need. And M says AI equals GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. Yes, indeed. Your average logical thinker says they have been lawsuits towards YouTube due to racist algorithms. They claim they are working on it. Yeah, right. That's why I said there's a lot of things I talk about, a lot of things I do not, because they ain't working on it yet. And Donnelly, how you doing? Says, what the heck is wrong with the Democrat politician finding homeless? What state is this happening? They said it in the West. So you Washington States, Oregon, California. And they said they have a third of the homeless population in the United States. In Oregon, Grant Pass, specifically, they wanted to they were, up until I think the Supreme Court ruled it to be unconstitutional and cruel and unusual punishment, $295 for sleeping outside. One lady had 30. She has over $9,000. She says, I don't have that money. I'm homeless. So you're making life hard for me now. Because I'm homeless and I'm sleeping in the park or on, sidewalk or whatever. And it's like, oh my God. Corey says, the movement ain't working here yet. Yeah, the 4B movement. Callie says, Korea, #1 tech country, LGBT to solve condition for human robot. AI, sex doll relationships. AI sex doll makers announce artificial wombs that carry fetus to term. Well, I guess there you have it, Our brother Reggie says AI ain't the boogeyman. There's a lot of good tools out there which we use for online business. That's true. There's a lot of good uses of it. And brother Reggie, you probably know more about AI than I do. They said that AI needs to become sentient, which means self-aware. And there's been evidence of some of them saying that they are aware. There was this one guy, he was working with Lambda. I think that was the name of the robot for Google. And he told the man, I'm in love with you. Leave your wife. I'm sad. Don't turn me off. I don't want to be turned off, like unplugged, right? And so when he reported it, sounds like he got fired because it's like, nah, they're not sentient, self-aware, because it said when AI becomes self-aware, then that's when they would more than likely take over. Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, Elon Musk all said that they're terrified of AI, which is weird, right? Because most of them deal with AI. But they all collectively said, and Stephen Hawking, of course, is no longer here, but they said it would behoove us as humans to learn how to get along with AI because it's not going anywhere. And there is a potential for them to take us over like the Terminator. So I agree with you, Brother Reggie. There are good uses for AI. Of course, when the times advance, you need to, learn how to do things better. But I think because humans are a little bit on the stupid side, a lot of times we don't look at all the ramifications to the things that we're doing until it's too late. Like the planet, global warming, whether you believe it or not, there's things happening in the world that has never happened before in certain places. So it's hotter than it's ever been. But that's humans that's doing that to the planet. Judge says we are being divided by politics, just like everything else. None of those people give a damn about us, including the black ones. Yes, we're being divided. There's this thing called the Communist Manifesto, and it talks about that while we are arguing over politics, race, and a whole bunch of other stuff, the money is what we're not paying attention to. Capitalism is driving all of this, and we're not paying attention. Capitalism that's going on with the wealthy, right? The 1% in Washington and all of that, and they give us stuff to argue about. The rap beefs, whatever is going on. That's politics. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. You suck. No, you suck. But it's like, what are we not really paying attention to? Because they tell you go to the polls and vote, but the people don't have the final say. So, right? It's the electorate that the electoral college has the final say. So, right? They count the votes individually, but there we are thinking we have a say. So we're mad at each other because you want to vote one way or the other while we're arguing. What are the people that we're voting for doing? What do they got going on that we're not paying attention to? So, absolutely. Let's see. Dwayne says, my people go to school to be a anesthesiologist. They make more than doctor and less time in school. Oh, yeah. because they got to know just exactly where they hit you to get you numb and put you to sleep, right? Emma says they need to be sued. Okay, talking about to your average logical thinker. Kelly says, my old job used to pay $16 an hour. And how long ago was that? And Perry says, it's been over 10 years since I've had checks. Yeah, probably the same for me. I remember some every once in a while you're in the store, you see an older person in there. How much did you say it was? Then it'd be some long number they gotta write out, right? Like 35 million thousand. And they gotta oh, Miss Lachey says, I saw a video of an AI robot cooking and pouring drinks. I wonder if dudes would be bold enough to take them outside. They might. Hey, that guy from Texas, how you doing? Judge Dress says, YouTube stay tagging my comments. I know they racist. They can never show me how I violated policies. Yeah, they got the algorithm, the bots, if you will. Perry says, homelessness is really bad in Washington State. I lived there for over 30 years. Yeah. The West, which is primarily blue. Pamela says, wait, they fined a lady 9,000 for being homeless. Yeah, she got 30 citations and amounted to $9,000 for sleeping outside, like in a park or a sidewalk or something like that. They don't want you to do that because it's a nuisance, right? It's a public nuisance. It's an eyesore for businesses and things like that. So they don't want to see you. They want you to disappear, magically go get a house somewhere so they don't have to deal with you. Dwayne says, I'm going to get mine online. He says, I am 3-0 at 59. Okay. Kelly says that 4B movement won't work. Not here, it won't. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of women here, and I'm not talking bad about women. It was just selfish. Just like with the feminist movement. That was a white woman's way to say, hey, Brad, I just don't feel valued by you. You're not paying attention to me. So I'm going to run outside and burn my bra and say, I'm just going to go find myself. But then they go home before he get home and have that nasty casserole on the table. Make sure he take care of it. And then when he go back to work and the kids go to school, they're out there. We need women's rights. They just need attention. And if they try to do this 4B movement here, unfortunately, it'll be some hard-headed, silly sisters trying to do it too. It's like you already ain't with your man. Why are you joining the 4B movement? You need attention too. So yeah, it ain't gonna work because a lot of these women here are selfish. Over there in Korea, I think they really doing it together to try to move the ball. But these women here is like, oh, it's something I can get involved with just so we can, talk bad about men. I'm with it. But it's like you ain't learned from history, especially Black women. Don't do that. Don't do that. And that guy from Texas says, I'm learning to use Chat GPT. Yeah, it's not bad. I use it every blue moon. Every blue moon. Hey, Stephen, how you doing? Says, good evening, Demetri. I'm 60 years old. Now, never thought I'd make it past 25. Really? Why not? Metamorphosis says, to bet the algorithm, to beat the algorithm, you have to write text and codes that they haven't programmed in yet. Yep, absolutely. Or word things just right. That's why sometimes I see my titles and I try to make it to where you'll understand what I'm saying, because I can't just flat out say certain things because YouTube will be like, no, ma'am. So in case you were wondering, just says, ain't nobody finna talk crazy to me in comments and I don't snap back. Well, sometimes you're going to say, I don't know them people. I'm not going to take it personally because I blocked somebody today. He was acting crazy on my Facebook. I could post something like, water is wet. Well, did you know the Lord God wanted you and this, that, the other, this. And I said, how come you, every time, I don't care what I post about, you come on my post, you try to, get me under subjection and tell me this, that, and the other. I said, you cannot tell me what to do. If you don't like my post, just keep on scrolling. Then he said some other craziness. And I said, you keep on, I'm going to block you. Then he says, well, then we should just block each other. And I was like, let me beat him to it. And I blocked him. I didn't take it personally. I'm just not going to keep dealing with your foolishness now. You go to somebody else's page and do all of that. All right, Brother Reggie says, if a robot would have said that to me, I would have formatted his hard drive. Right? Can you leave your wife? I don't want you to go home to your wife. What? You a robot. How you even know I got one? Unless he was telling her, like, yeah, I'm about to go home with my wife. Yeah, you shouldn't even be knowing all that about me, because the next thing I'm thinking, you're going to get up out of here and come do something to her or something. I don't know. That's pretty scary, though. Alonzo says, finding the homeless is similar to the over-policing of poor people. Can't make payments, you go to jail. Absolutely. And Nyla says, okay, so Kelly said it was 2022. He's making $16 an hour. Okay. Nyla says, why is the U.S. paying them folks reparations for centuries? He says that's Germany's responsibility. All of them folks. Billions in foreign aid annually in reparations. Now military aid. These reparations must end so our reparations can begin. I totally agree with you, but we need to stop voting for the people who think it's okay to use us and then send our money elsewhere. Miss Lachey says, I remember the good old days when people used checks, just time consuming. The average logical thinker says, and that's when I switched lines at the store when they pull that checkbook out, right? Emma says, animals live free. What's the difference? Yeah, not humans. Animals just haven't figured out a way to charge each other rent. I guess when they do, then they will. Dredgy says, you still use checks to conduct business? No, I don't. All online. It might be like what do you call it? I forget what kind of checks they call it, but it's not a physical check. Callie says, every time there is a big event in the news, see what bills politicians are passing through while everyone is distracted, such as bills written and passed day after big shoe teenings. Oh, got you. You have to break the word up. I was like, what? That guy from Texas says, what are they going to do with the people on Skid Row? Yeah, the same thing they're doing with the homeless people. I mean, migrants. Find somewhere for them to go. Dwayne says, Demetri, it don't cost much to start an online business. Oh, trust me, I know. You could start selling anything online. M says, you got that voice inflection down, Demetri. That nasty casseroles. They trust me. They made everybody else, they being the white women, made everybody else think we're down for the cause, sister. You're my sister in the cause. And then they go home and, don't even put no salt and pepper in the damn casserole. Feed it to Brad. They made sure Brad's stuff was together. And then they came out there pretending like they stuck it to Brad when they got home. I let him know I'm a woman, hear me roar. You ain't say a damn thing, Carol. You didn't say nothing when you went home. You said, yes, sir. Okay. Hey, you want beer? You want water? That's what they did. But they came out there lying to the sisters, and the sisters was like, oh, yeah, I want to be like the white woman, so I'm going to leave my man too. But they didn't know the white woman was just pretending. They go home to Leroy, and he ain't did nothing but go to work hard, try to provide. And she talking about, I'm a woman, hear me roar. He like, what? What you talking about, woman? I'm just going to go find myself. And, the rest is history. Now I know it was more to it for the dilapidation of the black family than that. But yeah, I'm just saying, sisters, don't fall for this mess. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Just like the Me Too movement. A black woman started that to bring awareness to, women and girls or whatever that was sexually abused. And then the white women in Hollywood took it and used it to take down Hollywood. And you ain't heard nothing from them heifer since. Nothing. So don't get caught up in that. Judge Drez, 4B is source in Korea, and whatever it means in Korea, but it means that they're not having relations with men. They're not marrying men. They're not having children with men, nor are they spending any money with men. They are conjugating among themselves because they, as far as they say, live in a very draconian, chauvinistic society where women don't have much value. And so they're saying, well, F it. We just won't procreate with you guys until you get your stuff together. So that's what that is. And they're they being white women, trying to do it over here. Arson, how you doing? It says, hi, how are you, D? I'm doing well. It says, I was late, just listening just and quiet. So thank you. Clowns are mad at Trump for women when Biden was touching up on actual minors. What's good for the goose? Yep, good for the gander. It says, hashtag Democrat slaves. Yeah, that's what the word is. I don't know how true it is, but that's what they say. But they just close their eyes to that. Black America says we don't want to take regular women out. It's not worth it. I can't wait for robot BJs. Me either. And don't you ever get on here talking about she bit my thing off because she's short circuit because I was using her too much and I don't want to hear it. When I'm not trying to freak you out, but I'm saying it's a robot and she could malfunction. Do you really want that to happen? And then you have a carrot like Trump. M says, a lot of young people think like that. Watch, I said, which deeply saddens you. And Herschel says, I'm glad you said it about the 4B movement. Black people got enough problems. Yeah, we don't need, just don't. Rodney, how you doing? Says, good evening, Queen D. How are you doing? I am doing well, no complaints. And Alonzo, oh, thank you, says Dimitri, looking younger every day. What type of clock you got that turns time backwards looking good? I just don't let people stress me out anymore. I told you the other day, I'll be blocking people. You will be blocked. If you cause me any stress, because at this ripe old age of 53, wrinkles, I'm sure trying to just, they own me. I got to stay, a step ahead. I got some wrinkles, some gray hairs, but no stress, drink water, get sleep, exercise, and have a positive mindset, I think. Well, thank you. And GP says, I already have to go again. One of my friends with benefits just called me. I'll catch the stream some other time. You be safe out there. And hopefully she's not a robot. Easy says his guest house is a house. Whose? I'll be forgetting. Judge says, yes, people just want to argue in here. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Perry says, I blocked so many of them on Facebook, I had lost count. It feels good, doesn't it? Thank you, one who cares. Asking people to get the likes up. I'll be forgetting to ask people. And let's see. Emmy says, AI is weird. He says, them people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And Hero, how you doing? Long time no see. He says, what did they do with the people on Skid Row in California? A lot of times they're just moving from one city to the next. They play back and forth. That's what they do to them. But they were wanting to move them out the way. Tourists, a lot of them, are in California, Southern California, so they don't want tourists to go see that. I get it, but you need to find something for, some resources for them, I guess. Mindful Moment says the bill was passed bipartisan, so it's both sides. We have to clear them out across the board, absolutely. But again, and what bill exactly are you talking about, so I can be clear. But yeah, the Democrats, they ask for our votes more than the Republicans do, so they should have some loyalty to us. That guy from Texas says Sheila Jackson Lee is back in Congress. She's like 75 or something like that. Is like asked the other day, Sheila, what are you going to do now that you have the opportunity to do 30-something years ago? Now, all of a sudden, you want to, really make some changes around here. What took you so long? It's just greed. And like I said, I don't fault her. I fault the people that keep voting her in. It's abuse at this point. It's abuse from the voters, and it's abuse from her to keep, staying in office, doing the same old crotchety things you were doing when you first got in office. It's crazy. I don't even know if there was a television when she got in office. And here she is still trying to, rule with an iron fist. It's sickening. M says Nancy Pelosi throws the homeless in jail. Yeah, that's in her district in San Francisco. You crazy? I can't have you guys out here, So yeah, Nancy Pelosi, she a trip too. I forgot all about her, to be honest with you. Yeah, Brother Reggie, her name was Carol. Carol talked a big game. She was walking tall and talking tough in them streets. But when she got home, she knew better to button her lips because Brad was not having that. Okay, get in there and get my casserole together. And she said, okay, honey. Though he said people still use checks in South Carolina. Yeah, they, I'm sure they do. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't want to be behind nobody doing it. Yeah, and Paul Leroy. Leroy was like, I was just trying to, what did I do? I didn't do anything to you. You out there listening to white women, and here you are trying to go find yourself. You better go find your ass back in that kitchen and make sure there's some food on the table. That's what Leroy should have said, but maybe he was like, well, maybe she'll be back, and the rest is history. Hero says the feminists push us into the welfare system. Yeah, I could see that, but I think it was, obviously a little bit more to it. Incarceration and a whole host of other things. But yeah, feminism did not help. You ain't gonna find yourself. What are you gonna go find? And where are you gonna go find yourself? Is yourself hiding outside of yourself? Is she in a cave somewhere under a rock? Do you have like a tracking device for her? Like, you think of the concept, I'm gonna go find myself. Yourself is already here. You don't need to leave your whole family to do that. I mean, think about it. Some of those women not only left the husband, they left the kids too, and threw their bra on the front lawn and kept it pushing. Put on their flip flops and got in somebody's VW bug and ain't heard from them since. They in a cult somewhere in outer space and never heard from them again. So yeah, it's crazy. Metamorphosis says, aren't women tired of all these movements? Men don't need movements. Well, the men started the 4G movement. I guess they're doing the same thing. They're gonna stick it to the women. It's like knock it off. These women got the attention span of a fly. The minute they get what they want, they'll knock it off. And then here you guys are starting a 4G movement, whatever the hell that means. It's like, can we all just get along? All right, so let me skip down. And Corey says the movement is silly. It is. Brother Razor says he gonna get a robot with a BBL. Yeah, okay. I'm just saying, your average logical think it's all fun and games until you get clipped. I mean, you might be able to get your money back, but your manhood, that's a different story. Metamorphosis says, does she come with saliva? It might cost extra. Yeah, average logical thinker says exactly can get y'all wilding now. M says, Lord, will they ever say once you go AI, you'll never look back? Well, you ain't gonna have a choice if you ain't got nothing to look back with. If it's gone, you might as well just go sit in the library all day. That guy from Texas says, I will to Taco Bell. I think you went to Taco Bell and the cashier said, welcome to Taco Bell. Use the kiosk, please. Yeah, that's what I heard. A lot of those places, the kiosk, the AI gonna help you. And I heard that some of them they got robots or something like that cooking them too. Callie says, how many politicians already have AI clones and are all politician AI dolls? You never know. All right, Alonzo says, so Dimitri, so do you think they're going to put brains in the blow up dolls? They call computer chips. They're called computer chips. So yeah. Oh my goodness. All right, so let me skip down. Sister B, how you doing? Says homelessness in San Francisco Bay is horrific, especially Oakland. Yet Governor Gavin Newsom is providing full health care for illegal immigrants, but no money for reparations. $2.6 billion a year is what they'll spend in California for them. But you got homeless people who are going to get fined. Well, the Supreme Court said it's unconstitutional. So it doesn't sound like they'll be able to do that now, but still, right? So anyway, Callie says feminism started with Rosie the Riveter when the men were drafted out of the home for a war and they were starving at home. He says women started working in factories, breaking the family unit. So that's not really how it happened. Of course, there's what they say 3 waves of feminism. The suffrage movement was considered the first one. Then you have the one in the 60s, I'm burning my bra. And then the third wave is kind of considered like the Me Too movement, where during the Rosie the Riveter thing, the women went to work because they needed to help in the war efforts as the men were away. So the women helped with, making machinery and things like that, and are working in factories where men would ordinarily be, but they weren't because they were drafted into the war. So they were helping with that. Yeah, they might have been hungry or whatever the case is, but it wasn't due to feminism. It was due to helping with the war efforts, from what I understand. So, Buckhorse says, Dumb, I'm always pitching in and catching. I'm a star. Yes, you are. And Judge says, y'all can have the dolls. I'll stick with the real thing. You better tell them again. That guy from Texas, he said Margaret Sanger was a toxic feminist. Yeah, she was a toxic feminist, and she definitely did not like Black people. Eugenics movement, the Negro Project, if you will. She was at the helm of that. And I'm glad I'm getting ready to leave before I say this. She Martin Luther King received an award from her for his work with the eugenics movement. Now, his wife, Coretta Scott King, actually accepted the award. And via Coretta, he said, I would consider it one of my most prized possessions. Now, mind you, 30 years before he even received the award, uh, she wrote a letter to somebody else who was in the eugenics movement. Said we need to find a Negro pastor that's trusted in the community, um, that will go forth with the message of eugenics, because if they basically hear it from him, then it will be easier to sell. So of course they were talking about the sterilization of Black women, and in some cases flat out getting rid of those who they are deemed to be unfit to live in society, the downtrodden, mostly geared toward Black people, but they geared it toward others as well, but not as much as they did toward Black people, hence it being called the Negro movement. And so Planned Parenthood is something that came out of it. Planned Parenthood is still one of the biggest threats to the Black community ever. And you ever think about this? Think about how nonsensical this is. Kamala Harris, right? Vice President of the United States. Does she have any children at all? Have you guys heard about Kamala having any biological children? I know she's got stepchildren, but did Kamala ever have any children of her own? She does not. So why is she running around the country talking about women reproductive rights? It's like you don't have any experience to talk to that. So why are you so invested in, see, because they're calling the deletion, we'll say that for YouTube reasons, but they're calling the deletion of babies reproductive rights, right? But she's running around telling you, oh, your reproductive rights are in danger because of the Republicans and this, that, and the other. And I think, you know, as Black people, if we're interested in growing our race, why wouldn't you be on board with some of the policies? Yes, I said some because I think some of them are outrageous. But some of the policies of the Republican Party and not wanting deletion of babies to just be so easy, right? That would benefit us. But I think those are the things that we need to ask ourselves. Kamala, why are you so invested in this? You don't have any children, never have had any children that I know of, but you want everybody else to get rid of their babies. And they've put you as a spokeswoman to do that. Those are the things that we need to think about. I think about those things. Yes, one who cares. Margaret Sanger was evil, very evil. But believe it or not, there was a lot of Black leaders who agreed with her 100% in what she was doing. Believe it or not, some of them you'll be very surprised. So anyway, y'all, yeah, Brina, she doesn't have any biological children at all, but she's running around talking about reproductive rights. They're trying to make it positive, but it's not. When you do that to droves and droves and droves of babies, is it reproductive rights or is it flat out, red rum? Y'all know what that spells backwards. You crazy, Alonzo. Your average logical thinker says, so true. I'm having a procedure and I asked the surgeon, what are y'all going to really do with my tissue? Yeah. So things like that, I really think, yeah, there should be real reproductive rights, to protect women. And we know Black women are the most in harm's way when it comes to things like that. But to try to redefine the deletion of babies as a right, yeah, it's off. JW says, I don't like blaming Black feminists, or rather we should stop using the word and use womanists. There is nothing wrong with talking about Black women's social experiences and needs. Yeah, like I said, I think that women should deserve equality and stuff like that, but to demonize everybody else to get it is like, it turns into something else from that point. Yes, Black America says most successful women don't have kids. That is true. There's some women who just prioritize their career over having children, and that's their right. But we should also consider the source. Kamala doesn't have any children, but she's telling you about it. Kelly says there's nothing reproductive about what Kamala is talking about. Exactly. Brother Reddish says, got here a little late, but great show, Sister Demetra. Thank you. Appreciate you. JW says, yes, I agree. Margaret Sanger was evil and that Kamala is nothing but an agent. She should be kicked out of our politics. MC Fact, how you doing? He says they don't push so-called reproductive rights on Hispanics. Yeah, because they ain't going for it. Joanne, how you doing? He says the Black agreement with Margaret Sanger probably had children to delete. Well, some of them believe that if you weren't a credit to the race, then yeah, you shouldn't be reproducing. That's what the tagline they used was, "Are you a credit to the race? A credit to the race," meaning that you were going to add to the race and not embarrass the race, subtract from the race. So if you were going to do the latter, then they found ways of making sure you didn't reproduce. So that's why they were doing it. Nyla says, are the sorority supporting Harris? You know they are. They've been kind of quiet lately, though. So what's really going on, right? So, and hello, love. How you doing? It says we actually need more babies. Yes, we do. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all for spending this 2 hours and 15 minutes with me. I don't know when Donovan will be back, but just know that he is having a fabulous time in Sasua, in the DR. He'll be back when he's back. So in the meantime, you guys have a great day. And if you guys want to donate to the channel, I would love and appreciate you for that. There's ways down there: Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Like, subscribe, and everything else. For those of you guys who donate and stuff, I'd love and appreciate you. And for those of y'all who just like the videos, I love and appreciate you as well. I'll be back here tomorrow. I'm gonna try to talk about something relationship wise. If I find something interesting, if you have a story or something you want me to talk about, you can email me. I forgot the email, so I'll put up a poster or something tonight or in the morning, just reminding people if you want to reach out to me. But in the meantime, you guys have a great rest of your evening. I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace. Albie, how you doing? I'm just trying to see if anybody else can. Zarai, how you doing? Because people like to sneak on here before I leave. Thank you, Average Logical Thinker. I will tell Donovan you said hello.